My little brother James, tween, and I, nearly adult male, live with our oldest sister, Eva, 26. James and I were removed from our mom when I was 10, and Eva did everything she could to keep my brother and me out of the system. I think it was because she was worried we'd be separated, and I know she was in foster care for a little bit when she was younger too, so I guess that was another reason she didn't want us to go in. She has guardianship of us now, and the adoption process is already going through. So today we were having a family dinner at a relative's house, and some people from our mom's side of the family, aunt, uncles, cousins, etc., were there with us. My aunt ended up making a big deal about the fact that Eva had James and me help with some of the prep for dinner. She said something like, "You shouldn't be bossing them around, they're not your kids and you're not their mother." Before anyone could respond, I said, "Well, we haven't been your sister's kids for like 7 years now, so who do you think was doing her job instead?" My aunt got mad, and then eventually everyone started arguing. So dinner was ruined. A few of my cousins even texted me afterward and said so, and pretty much everyone went home. Eva told me that it was not my responsibility to defend her, and then she said she was sorry for the situation with our aunt. I feel bad because I made Eva feel bad, and because, according to most of our family, I ruined the occasion with what I said. They think that it wasn't the place or time for me to bring up my mother's situation, even if it was just in response to what my aunt was saying. I didn't mean to ruin dinner or anything, but if I was out of line, then I'll apologize. Am I the idiot? Edit, no one in my mom's family helped my sister out when she was 19 and suddenly responsible for 2 kids, and honestly, I don't know why. Even when Eva was a kid and she was taken from our mom temporarily, our relatives were given the option to keep her out of a foster home and let her stay with them, but none of them took her in. I can't imagine what my life would have been like if she wasn't there to fill in where our mother fell short. She's the best sister I could ever have asked for, to be honest, and I'm glad she'll officially be my parent soon. Not the idiot. Your aunt was out of line to comment on what your sister asked you to do, and then she couldn't handle the truth when you spoke up. Too bad for her. Your sister is right that it wasn't your responsibility to defend her, but it was the right and honourable thing to do, in my opinion. Congrats on your impending adoption. Your sister sounds like a gem. You're an awesome brother, and your sister has done an excellent job raising you. The family is wrong. You didn't ruin anything. I'm amazed that people who would have let Eva and the 2 of you rot in the system were even invited to a family Thanksgiving. They sure don't act like family or even friends. God bless you and your siblings. It sounds like your family is lashing out from guilt. Not one of them could bother to take in 1 child when your mother had been removed as guardian, and yet when history repeated itself, she took not 1 child on but 2, at the age of 19. I imagine it galls them. All the tiny excuses they made for themselves about why they couldn't take her in are lies. Simply because she did, she made it work. Aunt is jealous of how well the sister is raising the brothers. She's also projecting guilt for not stepping up to help. Her comments went straight for the jugular. They were meant to hurt and diminish the sister for being a better person. It's pretty aggressive behaviour if you really think about how targeted that comment was. I would have added, please explain where you were, Auntie dearest, when sister became our guardian. Were you too busy being a useless judgmental idiot while this girl raised a 10-year-old and a toddler while a teen herself? Also, the prep for dinner is a weird thing for her to have a problem with in the first place. Oh no, a teenager and a tween are actually helping prepare dinner. How scandalous. Respond to anyone who tells you were out of line that you were simply correcting your aunt. No further info or justifications. One standard line. Play, rewind, replay. So my girlfriend begged me to attend her family's Thanksgiving party at her aunt's house this year. I was opposed since I don't like to spend holidays away from my sister, but I agreed because this was important to her. I dressed up reasonably nicely, made a good impression during the food portion and so on. Throughout the day, her cousin Maggie and I had lots to talk about. My girlfriend never mentioned it, but she's doing the same major as me. Also, she's a huge One Piece fan just like me. She's also seen a ton of my favourite anime. We really hit it off. After everyone was basically done eating and most people were watching football, she said she set up her Switch downstairs, so she didn't have to deal with the noise while in her room, and a few pro controllers, and that we could play Smash Bros until I had to go. That sounded fun to me, and I was getting bored, and I didn't realise we would be staying so long. I told my girlfriend where she could find me. Apparently she gave me a look telling me not to do that, whatever that's supposed to mean, and went with her. My girlfriend was furious on the drive to drop me back to my parents' house for some reason. She'd asked why I just decided to ditch her the entire day, how embarrassing it was for the two of us to just go screw off together, etc. Obviously, that's not true. I was only down there for about 3 hours out of the 5.5 hours we were there in total. Also, she came down several times for a few minutes to chat with us. There's no reason she couldn't have stayed if she wanted. She ditched me, if anything. I truly cannot see that I've done anything wrong. She's overreacting. If anything, she's in the wrong for getting angry over nothing. Am I the idiot? I was only down there for like 3 hours out of the 5.5 hours we were there total. So you spent most of your time not with your girlfriend or the rest of her family when invited over for Thanksgiving? You are the idiot. I don't think you made the good impression you think you did, my guy. Best of luck with the fallout from this. You spend more time with the cousin than with your girlfriend? Wow. Sounds like you are still a boy and couldn't suck it up for a few hours to spend time with her and her family. Like, dude, how clueless could you be? You didn't even seem to care about your girlfriend for the whole event despite it being important to her. You have a lot of growing up to do to become a man. You don't know how lucky you are to have someone who cares about you enough that she wants, begged even, you to share a holiday with her and her family. Some people never find someone who's devoted to them. If you're in college, I expect you to have at least a bare minimum of knowledge of common courtesy and proper guest behavior. You don't have this. Good news though, you don't have to worry about spending Christmas with your girlfriend. Heck, there are pretty good odds you won't have a girlfriend for much longer. I don't know, it sounds like the cousin might be an option. That was my first thought. She's never mentioned it before, but her cousin and I have a ton in common. Can't imagine why it wasn't mentioned if this is how he handled it, LOL. Girlfriend is better off ending this relationship and trying to date someone more courteous and less selfish. I, 19, am allergic to dogs. Nothing serious, just very irritating. My parents are older, and while I live here, I essentially take care of the house's upper floors instead of paying rent. About a month ago, my parents got a dog from a friend. He's a little dog, not sure what breed, and generally an okay dog. My dad's best friend. Up until now, it's been rough, but okay. I take allergy meds, and that mostly helps. Still itchy, sniffly, and feeling generally unwell, but otherwise okay. He also chases my cat, but she stays upstairs mostly anyway. Well, a few days ago, he discovered our laundry room. He found my clothes and underwear, played with them, and my dad got them off him and put them back in the laundry without telling me. As you can imagine, when I put it on yesterday, there was a whole situation. I'm itchy, sore, and bleeding in some spots. I've tossed the underwear, but I'm at a point where I'm so tired of this dog. I cried to my friend about it, and she came to me yesterday evening with her mom and said I could move in with them as long as I paid rent, and I can bring my cat. So this morning I told my parents they get rid of the dog or I would move out, and they'll have to take care of their own house. They started by apologizing and asking me to reconsider. When I denied, they essentially said I expected them to pick between their children. I was a little insulted that I had the same value as a dog they'd had for a month and called them bad parents. I'm in pain, I can't enjoy my own home, and they still want to keep the dog. I went to bed and told them to choose by tomorrow, but I haven't been able to sleep for worry. I feel so bad. I spoke to a different friend who said it was uncalled for, I should understand. I wouldn't want to give up my cat ever. I'd die for her. I can't keep living like this, but I also feel awful making them choose. Either way, it sucks for someone. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Choosing between their children? What on earth? It's a dog, and they can't even be bothered with the basic decency of washing your clothes when the dog touches them. If you're bleeding, this is far more than a mild irritation. They're living in dreamland if they expect you to put up with that. They are bad parents. I can't imagine being this cruel to my child. Get out, OP, and see how long they last without you. If they're okay with it, you know the answer. But if I were them, I'd rehome the dog, get the house deep cleaned, and apologize on my knees. I was a little torn at first just because I get the idea of being attached to an animal. However, these are your parents, and when they took in the dog, they had to know you were allergic. They went ahead knowing it would make you feel at best a bit yucky, and at worst it would make you feel like a complete idiot. I disagree. You are the idiot for giving an ultimatum. Give up a family member or I'm moving out. Grow up, it's their house, they can get a dog. You're an adult, you don't have to live with your parents. Just move out without the drama. Why are you making it all about yourself? You're 19. Stop trying to control your parents. You're going to move out eventually and the dog will be good for them to have. Did we read the same story? She's there to help her parents and doesn't have an issue moving out. Her parents are the ones who need her to sacrifice her comfort to take care of their house. And for the parents to say that dog means more to them than the well-being of their own child, Jesus, I don't feel like OP did anything wrong in this situation. Honey, it sounds like your parents' plan to evict you is working perfectly. My 34 male brother-in-law Bob, 37, is overweight. Even my wife told him that it's not healthy, but he doesn't care. He says he wants to try, but it's impossible for me. I've always stayed out of these discussions until now. For family dinner, we visited his house, but he wasn't looking his usual self, so sometime later I asked him what the problem was. He said that he'd attempted to get a date with someone, but that she didn't appear interested in him and said that as he's too fat, she's better off with someone else. He said that it's left him depressed and that when he vented to someone else, his co-worker, he told him that it was his fault. I asked him, well, what do you want to do about that? He said, I don't know. I told him, listen man, the woman was trash, but you're risking your health now. He responded that he found it hard to listen and I don't want you lecturing me. Why don't you mind your own business? This is my damn house. I lost my temper and told him, well okay, either wear some baggy clothes or lose some weight, it's your call. He was silent but then asked, what do you mean baggy clothes? I responded, if your breasts are the problem, that might help. He began to shout and yell at me while my wife attempted to defuse the situation and how I had disrespected him, etc. I told him it's his fault and that he couldn't blame me for pointing that out, etc. But in the end, we had to leave the house. I'd like to know whether I overreacted or did something wrong. I was just fed up with him. Am I the idiot? Oh look, another idiot disguising insults as, I just want to help, BS. We all know it. OP, you know you don't have to express every thought that pops into your head, right? It's called using some tact. And also wrong, baggy clothes are not a fat person's friend. It's a common misconception. Correctly fitted clothes always look best, regardless of size. I wonder how many people kickstart sustainable healthy lifestyles because their friends or family members made unsolicited cruel comments about their body. I'm guessing the number is very low. You are the idiot. If you're worried about his health, be supportive. Be his gym buddy, go for hikes together. Don't crap on him and pretend you're doing him a favor. You asked him why he seemed upset and he answered honestly. Then you were condescending and insulted him in his own house during a family gathering. It's always obnoxious when someone claims they insulted a fat person because they care about them. Weight and mental health are closely connected for many of us. Still, so many people are convinced that tough love, i.e. shame and degradation, is somehow going to make a fat person have an epiphany and snap them out of all the emotional turmoil that caused the weight gain. The truth is, it has the exact opposite effect. Stop pretending like you give a damn. You just want to feel superior to someone and found an easy target. I'm a 31-year-old female and last week my boyfriend, 30, asked if he could use my car to pick up his friends from the airport. I asked him why he couldn't use his car and he said he was booked in for maintenance that day and mine was bigger anyway. I checked what time the flight got in, worked out the time with work and said he could take my car. This morning he got ready and asked where the keys were. I tell him they're on the key tray and he says, no, the Ferrari keys. Background, the Ferrari is a 328 I inherited because my dad died less than 2 months ago. I told him there was no way he was driving the Ferrari and he could use the Land Rover, which is what I agreed to. He says I agreed that he could drive my car, and not which car specifically. I told him there was no way he was taking my dad's Ferrari, and even if we'd been married for 10 years, I still wouldn't let him drive it. We'd been together for 6 months. He got angry and said that his friends were expecting him to show up with a Ferrari and that they were excited about going for a drive in it. We got into a shouting match, and I kicked him out of my apartment and told him he was not taking the Land Rover either, and he and his friends could work out their own way of getting home. I went to work, took all of the keys with me, and now I'm getting messages from him saying he can't believe I didn't trust him and took all the car keys, and from his mom and dad telling me I need to go to therapy because I'm too attached to things, and that my dad is gone and being possessive over his belongings isn't healthy. Am I the idiot for not letting my boyfriend use my car, and am I being too emotional? Note, he went back to the apartment after I'd left for work to talk things over. I was so angry about him going through my apartment that I called security and they took my spare key from him and had his picture up as a do not allow to enter. Did I go too far? Not the idiot. First, I'm sorry for your loss. Your boyfriend is a sneaky, insensitive idiot. He didn't ask to borrow the Ferrari. He asked to borrow your car because it was conveniently scheduled for maintenance and your car was bigger. He was deliberately vague. He was lying about his car being scheduled for maintenance. saying your car was bigger and leading you to believe he meant the Land Rover. He already told his friends he was driving the Ferrari before asking you. Well, I don't want the $80,000 Land Rover, I want the Ferrari. You've been dating this loser for 6 months and he thinks he's entitled to drive your dad's car, not even any car but a Ferrari? Then he runs to mommy and daddy, who have the nerve to tell you that you need therapy and that your dad is gone and you need to stop being possessive of your father's things. They're all disgusting. Not to mention that he went back when she was out and searched the apartment thoroughly enough that he knew she'd taken all the car keys with him. I'm 99% sure that if she'd left the Ferrari keys at home, he would have taken the Ferrari anyway. This dude would have left OP on the hook for over $30,000 in damages minimum. Agreed, and gosh, his parents are just terrible. They're trying to convince her that she's 5 years old and it's something as mundane as a toy she needs to share. To answer your question, you didn't go too far. He doesn't care about you. I'm glad you got your key back and I hope this means you dumped his sorry butt. Block him and his parents. You deserve better. You're grieving and the last thing you need is this parasite trying to take advantage of you during this difficult time. Girl, you did right to bounce his greedy, entitled idiot to the curb.